Today in Tableau, we're going to end up making a map, particularly a Chloropleth map. Now I've got a data set that I downloaded from Gapminder that has the country names, and these are, I already filtered out so that we just have the year 2017. And we're going to make a map where I want to fill in the color of the country with some quantitative variable. In this case, we're going to take the fertility rate of the country. So you can see that this fertility rate it's the number of children born per woman on average. And so above or below two sort of makes it clear what the growth rate, whether the population is growing or shrinking. And so we're going to make a graph of that. So I'm going to go over here to this sheet and notice that in my dimensions, my categorical variables, I've got the country name, and Tableau is smart enough to recognize that these countries are geographic information. And so if I do any sort of graph, I can just tell it, hey, graph these countries, and it'll know what to do. Now, it also has this latitude and longitude in the data set, but we're going to completely ignore that, and we're just going to look at fertility. So in order to make a map, one of the ways that you can do this is you can just take a geographic variable and just plop it right on the center of the map, and Tableau will sort of do the most appropriate thing. So it has decided to sort of do the most appropriate thing, and it thinks that it's going to draw little dots here. Now, first off, I'm going to recenter the map, and the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to shift click and sort of drag it to sort of my US-centric version of the world where the US is on the left-hand side and Asia, Africa, etc. are on the right-hand side. So I'm pretty happy with this orientation. But what I don't like is these dots. This dot just doesn't work for me. And the reason why this is a dot is because this marks thing is set up to be automatic. And right now, Tableau is trying to read my mind, and we're not working. So let's give it a little bit more information to work with. So I'm going to take this fertility number and bring it up to color. Now notice when I grabbed it, it thought, oh, I better do some sort of summation on this thing, but it doesn't realize that there's only one row per country. And so it's doing this sum, but it doesn't have to do that sum. So right now, this is actually pretty good. Now notice it's still automatic in terms of the marks. And what's going to happen is when I go to change this to just be show the number, don't do any sort of mathematical thing, just show the number, but it's one row, so summing is the same, but yeah, we're still going to tell it to do this. Now this is going to change. And the reason is because it changed this marks to be automatic and it went back to dots. So I'm really annoyed by that, and I actually want to fill in the shape of the country with the color that we have. And so now we've got the individual countries colored by their fertility rate, and we can happily look around the world and see that there's a lot of countries where the fertility rate is below 2, aka that means that the population is actually shrinking, barring immigration. And there's some other countries where the population growth rate is above 2, meaning that their population is expanding. And that gets us a start on a basic map in Tableau.